Give me big old buckets of butter beer. Give me big old barrels of butter beer. Give me the drink I love so dear. And another round for my friend right here of the sweet old butter beer.
Welcome to the Three Broomsticks. We invite you to pull up a chair, grab a butterbeer, and settle in for a hearty discussion about Harry Potter. I'm Irvin Cateman, and I'm so excited to let you guys know that we're welcoming 2 new full-time regular hosts here at the Three Broomsticks for what is essentially going to be our second season with a slight, change of personnel. So, you know them, you'll love them. Please give a big warm welcome to new full-time hosts, Karoline Oberlander and Taavi Wickman. Yay!
Thank you.
Yay, thank you.
Happy to be here.
Oh, we are so happy to have you guys joining the team. I'm sure our listeners, probably remember you from your many appearances on fantastic episodes, and if not, they'll get to know you.
Let's hope so.
Yay! Welcome to the pub.
Thank you so much. So excited to join you.
And I will jump right into my hosting duties, 2 minutes into hosting the podcast, and introduce our guest for this episode, which is Matthew, or AbsentMindedRaven.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. Please tell us about yourself. What's your Hogwarts house, favorite book, character, etc.?
Right. Well, I wouldn't expect people to have necessarily heard my first time on the pod, given that was like 72 episodes ago. I'm mostly a Ravenclaw. I have a soupçon of Puff in there.
Hi.
Hi. So, going back to favourite books, it's a while since I've reread them. I have a general inclination towards the even-numbered ones. Just not sure entirely why. It's just those are the ones that seem to connect with me better.
Mm-hmm.
Like the volume of the TV, it always has to be even.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, or a number 5 or like a 0. Yeah.
Huh.
Don't you come in here with your neurotypical biases, Irvin.
Okay, I'm going to turn my TV off from 37 because I feel a little cold out right now.
Moving on. Character.
Yes,
go on.
So character-wise, on the same topic, I've always had kind of a soft spot for Lupin, though he's obviously, like most of the characters, has his problems, but I feel for someone who struggles to hold down a job with a chronic illness.
Well, it's good to have you back with us, and since you are a returning guest, we have a special question for you for this episode, which is, which book from the Wizarding World do you most want to read?
Ooh. That's an interesting one. I might have to come back to that. It'll require a bit of thought.
Yeah.
Let's circle back at the end of the episode then. We're going to discuss a few books here.
Yeah, because we're going to discuss a lot of books. Matthew, I think it's good that the books you prefer are the even ones, because I feel like those are the ones that engage more with sort of books and writing within the text than the odd-numbered ones. So...
yeah, probably do.
And that's fitting because...
Well, because for today, for episode number 78, we've gathered to discuss the entertainment in the Wizarding World. And the recommended reading, I thought all the books, but maybe it's just the even numbers. But nothing specifically.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun, but before we dive on in, we want to offer a huge thanks to Sam Alman over on our Patreon, who bought us this round of drinks at the pub, so whoop whoop! Thank you, Sam!
Yay! Thank you!
Listeners, if you want to buy us a round at the pub, please head over to patreon.com/3broomsticks with the numeral 3 to sign up. We have a lot of really cool bonus content coming your way. I believe that Ev and Oreo did a lot of Britishisms. Sophia and I tend to talk about Harry Potter parties. I'm sure it'll be a good way for you to get to know our new hosts. And honestly, just to be straight up with you guys, we're losing a lot of money trying to make this podcast happen. Our monthly costs are well over $50 just for hosting, website stuff, just the infrastructure that gets the podcast to you. And we're currently bringing in less than half of that. So yeah, we really do need some help keeping the lights on at the Three Broomsticks. So if you could pitch in, even $1 or $2 a month, we'd really, really appreciate it.
Yes, please.
Well, and now let us offer a toast to the comments on episode 75. The episode was food, just food. And we raise our glass to commenter That Fantasy Analyst, who said, I think the only way to justify these alleged plot holes is to assume that as food is multiplied, it loses basically all taste and nutritional value. If my theory is true, then no one would waste time multiplying food because it would lose almost all its bioavailability in the process. This theory also applies to potions, since they are composed of the edible byproducts of magical animals. This explains why no one just duplicated a vial of Felix Felicis or a bit of Polyjuice potion whenever they needed it. The comment is much longer, but I picked this part because this is also how it works in my head. And later on, the commenter also said that sometimes you have to look at the science to understand, or the science behind the magic to understand it. And I also think you can't really create energy in the magical world or banish energy or matter. You can just sort of form and reform things. So if you would make food larger or multiply it, it still stores the same amount of energy or nutritional value. So I completely agree with commenter That Fantasy Analyst.
I mean, I 99% agree with it, but I'm sorry. They said that the potion ingredients are edible. I'm sorry. The beetle eyes, the lionfish spleen.
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm gonna say that no potion ingredients are not edible. No, thank you.
Well, Irwin, everything's edible once.
No.
You just
no.
won't
I
eat
completely
it again.
reject that.
It's edible the first time. You can't eat it once. You might
someone's eaten a car before, so
Sorry, what?
Yeah, there was a weird thing. This was probably like 50 years ago or something. This guy just had a thing where he liked eating stuff, and he ate his way through like a car or something, just piece by piece.
Okay.
Because he liked chewing on metal things for some reason.
Wow.
I mean, I guess it's a good source of iron.
I don't remember any more of the details, but yeah, there's...
Sounds very unhealthy, but...
And I was going to ask if he was from Florida. But
the answer is probably yes.
Most likely.
Ugh.
I, on the other hand, disagree with this commenter. And will raise the example of Harry Potter, Horace Slughorn, and Hagrid enjoying their mead together.
Mm-hmm.
And Harry wanted to make sure that Hagrid and Slughorn continue to get more and more intoxicated, and refills the mead.
Yeah, you're right. I would maybe consider that a plot hole, because otherwise, how do you... Why is anyone poor in the wizarding world? Why did the trio starve while they were on their way?
Yeah.
Well, did he want them to get more intoxicated, or did he just want them to keep drinking? Because
both.
It could
Definitely
have,
both. Yeah.
Because it could have been the vibe that just if they went, at that point, if they went, the bottle's empty, maybe we should go back.
Yeah.
And he wanted to avoid that happening, but they were already sufficiently drunk for his purposes. So a bit of sort of spread out, watered down mead wasn't going to make much difference.
Yeah.
True. My other theory is that it quite simply is a skill issue. You actually have to be good at magic to do this, and most people aren't good enough to duplicate food effectively. Hermione's not very good with coloring magic. We know this for a fact. That could be part of it. She's like, I just don't know how to do this magic. I'm not gonna.
But Harry then could do that with the meat, so with the drinks. So
with Felix,
right? Yeah, you're right. Maybe that's the point.
You got lucky.
Well, part of Three Broomsticks lore is that there is a master carrot in the Hogwarts kitchens, and that you have like one of each ingredient, and you can just make copies of that. which is how they feed 1,000 people every day. So yeah, I do think that you can multiply food from like where it begins. I imagine that it is, like Taavi says, fairly complex. And I imagine that there's like only so much you can do it.
Okay. I know we're getting a bit distracted away from our main discussion. But I just want to raise we mentioned poverty within the Wizarding World. I think that socioeconomically, poverty within the Wizarding World and outside in the Muggle or our world look very different. I think that the poverty that is experienced by the Weasleys, number one, is kind of Arthur's fault for not wanting to have any kind of ambition. And the adult children also have fairly successful careers. Curse breakers at a bank and dragon trainer and things like they've got the potential.
Pushback. One shouldn't have to be ambitious to be able to feed oneself and survive in the world.
But they don't struggle to feed themselves.
No.
Like, to Tavi's point, the Weasleys are poor, but even our sort of, like, example of what poverty looks like involves Ron having 3 square meals a day and not knowing what it's like to be hungry.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't think food scarcity is a part of poverty in the Wizarding World.
Yeah, I think the poverty that we're talking about here is the ability to purchasing power to buy things that they are not able to make themselves. And considering the fact that they are wizards, and they have land and they can grow their own food, seems to be very literal. Like, yes, new clothing is an issue. Fancy brooms.
Textbooks are an issue.
Yeah, because Mrs. Weasley can't write those and they can't. And she can't, she's not weaving cotton from scratch. So,
but do you think, going on there, do you think that the Weasleys really are at the lower end of the spectrum of poverty? Or is it more that Ron sees he has lots of siblings and also they come from a kind of pure blood circle where everyone tends to be very rich. And so I'm wondering, like, is that just, so they're not rich, obviously, but they're not struggling to feed themselves. They can not afford the newest things, but they can afford things.
Yeah.
They just have a lot of kids. And so I'm wondering if they're actually really on the lower spectrum of being poor.
I think they are. I think they're just living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, what immediately came to mind is the scene where we see into their Gringotts vault, and there's like one galleon and a few sickles, and Mrs. Weasley takes those. So like they don't have money. Like, if we're saying poor in terms of like how much money you have, like the answer is none. But again, because wizards can provide so many of their basic necessities by magic, I think the Weasleys are as poor as you can be as a wizard on account of there is no money. Again, it looks very different for them.
Yeah. They're not starving. They just don't have any disposable income to speak of. Otherwise, they might have spent the 1,000 galleons they won in the Daily Profits lottery on something other than vacation to Egypt.
Yeah, but also because they're a big family. Because if it would just be one kid, it would probably look a bit different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Kids are expensive.
Speaking of the Daily Profits, maybe we can get into our entertainment. And I usually don't think of newspapers as entertainment, but maybe this should be the case where it is. The Daily Prophet is a trash newspaper. I say that as a journalist. Okay, that's I've got my hate of the Daily Prophet out of the way.
I want to set a game. How many episodes Taavi's going to be on before the Daily Prophet being trash doesn't get mentioned once?
Now that I know about the game.
Over under the first year.
Now that I know about it, I'm going to make sure I trash the Daily Prophet every single time, because that is... The journalistic integrity of that newspaper is abhorrent. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, so when we say entertainment in the Wizarding World, there's not as much as one would perhaps think, especially in a slightly post-scarcity society. You have sort of live sports, you have live music, you have presumably theater, you have games, and you have books. And that's sort of what you have to go on.
Yes. A case that's been mentioned here, of course, is the idea that it's kind of stuck. Entertainment is stuck at a certain time period, that being 1692, right?
Ish.
Well,
like, we've seen that...
Ish.
We've seen that wizards can adopt things post-1692. It just, like, takes a while. So, you know, like, any year now, they're gonna, like, get into these, like, films called talkies.
Well, considering they don't seem to have gotten into even silent films or even other stuff, I don't think that they're that interested.
But they do have radio, and that definitely wasn't pre-1690s.
No.
Yeah.
So there is some development.
It's like they've picked up on things that are particularly interesting or particularly obvious. Like, despite the cultures being separate, it'd be hard to miss cars and trains. So the Wizarding World are fairly familiar with those. But other stuff that's more day-to-day things they haven't really picked up on, like paper.
Yeah.
You don't really think about this, but paper is a technology.
True, yeah.
Yes, I went to a paper museum when I was in Atlanta the other month. So yes, I know about the technology of paper.
I'm more thinking here a bit about, like, the time we have the International Statute of Secrecy is right around pretty significant witch trials, or in the years following them, right? We have the witch trials in Denmark, that are then brought to the UK by James I and V of Scotland and of England. And Wizarding World is kind of like, the Muggles are assholes. They are trying to, like, we're not dying from the fires, but the whole sentiment of burning us at stake isn't exactly great. Not appreciated. Except for the guy that liked it because it was tickling him. Wendell the Weird, I think it was.
Wendell and the Weird, I think it was.
Yeah, Wendell and the Weird. Like, the whole, maybe for a while there's like, let's not deal with these assholes and take their stuff. Let's leave them over there and we'll have our thing. We'll do our culture. And we're just going to not. Let's just not.
So do you think that the entertainment prior to that point was very similar? So that meaning that the wizards would use the same entertainment as the Muggle world and add to that their own wizard touch, maybe. So do you think they and does that translate to today? So do people who are wizards who are educated do they read Shakespeare? Do they know about the entertainment that was pre the Statute of Secrecy?
Well, that does seem to be the case, because like the Statute of Secrecy marked a separation of the culture, but all of the like games and pastimes that we do hear about, like people play Gobstones, they play chess, they play cards. The only game we specifically hear about is Exploding Snap, but people have playing cards.
Yeah.
These Quidditch, which is equivalent of wizard soccer, these are all things that predate the Statute of Secrecy.
Not soccer or football, as we call it.
I would push back on gobstones, because gobstones are marbles, and I think marbles, as we know them, came about like 19th century from a cursory glance at Wikipedia.
But
no typing.
Similar things have been around for longer.
Yes.
I did a bit of a Wikipedia deep dive on some of this stuff because I was curious about it, but yeah.
Also, there is the whole aspect of, like, we've got, like, Lucius Malfoy the First being at the court in London, like, being part of the nobility in a fashion. You also have Nicholas de Mimsy Pompington, or nearly had as Nick, who was also a member of the court. So a noble. We've got that kind of overlap. I think it's hard to discuss because of the fact that, like, yes, there's culture for the rich in this time period, but a lot of the culture that was experienced by people back in the 1600s didn't exactly last until today. We've got theater in some sense, but, like, most of the music doesn't really last 400 years unless it's, classical music.
Yeah. Well, especially because they don't have recorded music. So, like, unless a song is so good and so popular and so timeless that people keep, singing it 400 years later, like, no, it will go by the wayside. So, I mean, I think in our world, that's pretty much limited to Christmas carols and a couple operas, which are more of a niche thing.
Yeah.
Well, opera is another one of the things that was just coming into popularity in Britain around the time of the Statute of Secrecy. So,
yeah, it might have been too new and modern for the Wizards.
Yeah, it was this newfangled musical theatre thing that the Muggles are doing.
We do love musical theatre.
Oh, we do love musical theatre.
Especially a certain Harry Potter musical theatre thing on YouTube.
Yes.
That we will not get into this time.
That's an odd thought. How long ago was pantomime?
Oh, wait. I studied that at school a long time ago. It is quite old, but I don't remember how old it is.
That's all right. Just a random thought.
Yeah. But I mean, theatre, of course,
theatre has been
around for ages.
So, question. If Wizards wanted to do movies, how would they do it?
Train paintings.
Train paintings.
I mean, they do have moving pictures.
Yeah.
They sometimes make sound, or are capable of making sound, and sometimes not. Could you paint a play and make the figures in the painting just play the play all the time?
You could, in theory.
Yep.
Yeah,
if they're willing,
they'll act out.
You'd have to paint a lot of money for the actors.
Yeah. You have like a second painting with like the backstage where they can run.
Yeah. Where you just keep painting galleons.
Yes.
I think rather than like a full play, they might be doing like those kind of like mini soaps we've been seeing on TikTok. Because like we know, for example, with the Harry and Gilderoy picture that got Gilderoy holding Harry into the frame. So you kind of transfer your state of mind when the picture is being taken to...
That's a photograph rather than a portrait.
Yes, but same principle, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, we did an episode on this. Irvin, do you remember what number it was?
The paintings one? It was like maybe a year ago. Let me do a quick Control F.
So 50-odd?
Yes, episode 52. Well, good memory.
Well, I was on the episode, so...
Which is...
Still impressive.
It helps, yeah.
Another thought I actually had to answer the whole wizarding movies question is memories. You create a 3-dimensional set, the actors act the scene out, and then they sell the memory strands. And you can then put them in a pensieve.
The problem is that, like, people don't have a way of viewing it because pensieves seem to be really, really rare. Like, I think it's one of those things where, like, the manufacturer of pensieves needs to, like, position it as, like, no, it's not for, like, sorting out your 150 years worth of memories. It's a way to, like, watch stories. It's an entertainment device. And then it would basically be, like, a TV in every household situation.
Well, this is kind of a later... concluding thing, but I pointed out now, this is why the Weasley twins made so much money.
Yes.
They were doing this sort of like patented daydream charms is basically that.
Yeah.
You're going in and seeing a little play with you starring, so it's even better.
Oh.
Yes.
That's a very good point.
Maybe the Weasley twins will be the ones to sort of bring entertainment to the masses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Very interesting thought there, for sure. You can... I mean, people are reading to be... Imagine being the main character.
But wizards aren't. Wizards are reading to learn.
Are they, though?
Well, no. We don't know what wizards are reading because it's not mentioned. We just know that all the wizarding written books are like textbooks and memoirs and such. They may well be reading a lot of Muggle fiction.
I mean, we are at a school after all, so
Yeah.
textbooks do seem to be the theme.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like my memories of school involve an awful lot of fiction being read.
Oh, yeah.
True, but you had classes like English, I'm assuming? Wizards don't have that. They just assume you can write.
Mm-hmm.
You can do math. Fine.
Well, should we then move on to kind of the first part of entertainment with being printed media, because we're already talking about books.
Mm-hmm.
So there is, talking about printed press, I think that the two most mentioned are, of course, the Daily Prophet and the Quibbler.
Boo.
As we've learned, the Daily Prophet is trash. Although I would argue we only know a very, very small portion of the Daily Prophet. We know it under the influence of the Ministry, under the heavy influence of the Ministry. We don't really know what it looked like before, although we can assume that the Ministry always had influence there. And we know one journalist who is a trashy journalist, to be fair, but we don't know that much more. But we know that it's the only real newspaper available, which is a bit concerning. And that it has special editions, the Evening Prophet, where I'm not sure if that's a regular thing or just something that gets published when something important happens.
I think the latter. I think Rowling said in somewhere in Pottermore that like the Evening Prophet is for like special breaking news.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then you have the Sunday Prophet, which I guess would be then a regular thing every Sunday. And yeah, it being the only bigger newspaper, a real newspaper, because I would argue the Quibbler isn't a newspaper, but more like a journal. It really heavily influences public opinion on important topics, and that is quite dangerous.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The Daily Pravda.
Yeah, it is. I always think about the political system of the wizarding world. I'm not quite sure how it works, and I don't think we are quite sure, because we only, if I'm not mistaken, we only see the minister being elected. We don't really know if they vote for parliament. And the minister himself has quite authoritative power, and seems to be an autocrat during the elected time. It is elected, but still, they seem to have a bit too much power. And when you then also have control over the one newspaper, it makes sense that it influences the public opinion.
Yeah. But okay, let's get back to the entertainment aspect, because like we can get into like the politics and the press of the wizarding world, and
of course,
cheerfully for hours. So like the Daily Prophet does seem to be widely read. Like, you know, the wizards, for all that they don't have English class, are a very literary society, and so lots of people read the newspaper. Lots of people, unfortunately, believe the newspaper, which is, you know, another problem.
High literacy, low critical thinking.
Yes, which, you know, I suppose that's what English class is for. So I'm just thinking about the contents of the Daily Prophet. So, like, most of what's in there is breaking news. Sort of, what you'd expect. We don't hear of any, like, comic strips or crosswords or anything. Do we? I don't think we do.
No, but it could be a thing. It's just never mentioned.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like a periodical kind of aspect to it. We've got news about, a band that has a scandal, or maybe, what are they called again? The missed connections pages. I saw you at the Leaky Cauldron. What's your name?
Yeah. I'm sure they're reporting lots about Quidditch because, it's the national obsession.
There are 13 teams in the UK, so
lots to report.
I would hope so.
Mm-hmm. Births, deaths, and marriages, presumably.
Yes, obituaries are very important.
General classified ads.
There's content. There's not going to be any of those no news days. They did publish one of those back in 1900 something in the UK. It was a no news day, but I'm sure they can make things up.
I will say I don't think we see much of like people like actively reading the newspaper. By what I mean is that like sort of the picture the picture of Vernon, right? Where, like, he's sitting at breakfast and he, like, disappears behind the newspaper and is just actively reading it cover to cover. I think most of what we see are people sort of, like, looking at the Daily Prophet and being like, oh my god, this!
But also we're talking about students in school here. But
we see plenty of adults over summer vacation.
Yeah, that's true.
But Harry's a jock, so... I mean, I'm a trained journalist. Like, that's what I went to university for, and I've worked as a reporter. I don't read the newspaper cover to cover. So if I'm not doing that, I don't think anyone else needs to.
Yeah. Despite the way a lot of its articles are written, the Daily Prophet is not designed as an entertainment piece, an information piece.
A bit of both, right? There's a bit of entertainment, a bit of, you got a spoonful of sugar makes your medicine go down, as they say in Sound of Music.
Yes.
And I mean, the newspaper is written in a way where you can kind of skim through the headlines and then see what is of interest. And I don't think very many people also in our world really read the newspaper, like the complete newspaper.
Well, now they don't, because now there's online news, there's Netflix, there's, I think we're in a very different world from A, the early 90s, and B, the end of the 17th century.
Yeah, true. But even like early 90s, I think people did not read the newspaper every day from the front to the back, and just read what they're interested in or what was important to them. At least that's what I experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Otherwise, you need like half an hour at least to read the whole thing every day, and you might not have the time to do that.
Yeah. But okay, let's move on from sort of the newspapers to the magazines, because there does seem to be like a thriving magazine ecosystem in the wizarding world, which, again, this was written in the 90s and 2000s when there was such a thing.
I mean, there still is, but it's based on the UK that has a bit more of this kind of editorial culture with the tabloids and such.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we're starting with a Quibbler, where I don't think I can really find a real-world comparison, but maybe you can correct me in that. Because I think, apart from conspiracy sites that are sometimes similar, but also like they focus on a particular conspiracy or have a particular political goal in mind, the Quibbler just publishes whatever they think is correct, and it's a lot of conspiracy theories in there, but without really an agenda. At least I had that feeling. Yeah, but maybe you have a completely different opinion on that.
I mean, it does seem kind of like a literary magazines sort of as I encountered them in high school and college, where like people are like, this is an interesting thing that we think our devoted reader base of 12 people is going to really enjoy.
I think like the two comparisons that I would make for the Quibbler is like, this would be like an amalgamation of the two, would be like a mix of Mad Magazine and The Onion.
Except that the editor thinks it's all true.
Well, the editor's crazy, so
yeah.
just give The Onion, be like, you're delusional, so you now believe all the headlines you write, and sometimes you're actually correct. Like The Onion, apparently.
Yeah.
That's kind of my perspective, is like, it's The Onion, but he's actually drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Maybe that's true. But then for a second, of course, it turns into a credible news source, starting with Harry's interview, and then becomes quite important at the beginning of the Second Wizard War, and then does a sharp turn again and turns into a propaganda magazine to keep Luna safe. The
many faces of the Quibbler.
Yeah, the many faces. And then my question was, what happened after the war? Did it just go back to The Onion, basically? Or did it publish credible news source again? I can't really imagine that, though.
I doubt it. I think, like, probably there'd be a letter from the editor, being like, listen, my bad, like, please ignore everything you read the last 4 issues, under duress and all that. And then I think they probably just went back to being like, the kooky magazine that was historically significant for a hot minute.
Do we know what happened to Xenophilius after the war? I recall the last time we see him is when the Death Eaters are attacking their house to try and get Harry after he tipped them off. But yeah, we don't know what they do to him when Harry escapes or where he ends up or anything.
I don't think we know anything.
No. I think the only, like, mention of him in the Apocrypha is that Luna eventually came to realize that some of her father's, like, more out there theories aren't in fact true. But, yeah, otherwise no word of how Xeno ended up.
Yeah, no, I think the general consensus we have is that he survived the war, left Azkaban, and continued publishing the Quibbler.
Yeah.
Continued his annual summer pilgrimage to finally reveal the Crumplehorn Snorkack.
Crumplehorn Snorkack.
Yes. With his son-in-law, Rolf Scamander.
Boo!
Boo?
I'm a Neville Luna shipper, so boo to Rolf Scamander.
Okay.
I find it funny that he's, got the madman who's got conspiracy theories about animals is married, his daughter marries the grandson of Newt Scamander. Kind of a weird little coincidence there.
If that were true, which it's not because Neville and Luna ended up together, but if it were true, I imagine that, the big family Thanksgivings with, Newt and Xenophilius, at the same table would be immensely entertaining.
Accept it, Irvin. Accept it.
No, absolutely not. Well, but the other magazine, which seems much more mainstream and much more widely read, is Witch Weekly. And very clearly this is a very popular piece just based on sort of how widespread its contents are in Goblet of Fire when Rita Skeeter's writing for them.
Yeah, it seems like really very much like a celebrity journal that, and it is at some St. Mungo's, so very much like the journal you'll find at the doctor's office, to just with the latest gossip of anyone you can think of.
It's the Vogue,
it's sort of
Cosmopolitan.
Oh, see, I was going to say it's more People and Us Weekly.
That's also a very good comparison as well.
And I think there's a magazine called Women's Weekly in the UK, and that seems very much to be the Witch Weekly, Women's Weekly thing.
Yeah, because it does seem more focused on people, right? Like we see Rita Skeeter writing about Harry and Hermione and everyone. We see that they give out Most Charming Smile Award.
It's the celebrity gossip mags. It's a genre.
Yeah, a bit of fashion.
Yeah. Also, I'm debating whether to say this or if I'm going to offend all our British listeners.
Do it.
They give out a Most Charming Smile Award every month in a society of like a couple thousand people, of whom they're British. So how much competition is there really for a Most Charming Smile?
Well, they are wizards, so they can change their teeth.
True.
If they want to.
I'm just saying, I don't think Lockhart should be quite as proud of that achievement as he is.
I mean, that goes to say for everything.
There's a lot of things that Lockhart shouldn't be as proud of as he is, but...
Well, no, because, like, most of his achievements aren't actually his, and he knows that. But, like, he won Most Charming Smile. Like, I thought that was, like, genuinely his achievement. Like, he didn't steal that from anyone, as far as we know.
I mean, he only got that because he was famous and then also good-looking. But without the fame, it wouldn't have happened.
I mean, he could be confunding the editor of the magazine as well, but like once a month. Hello, let's go for tea.
Okay, so hang on. Like, I don't know which... Is it People magazine that does the sort of sexiest man alive and sexiest woman alive things?
Yes.
Which maybe it's similar to that in that it always creates debate and people are saying, oh, yes, they're the perfect choice. And other people are saying, what? Them? Didn't you have any sort of other options?
But surely no one would argue with Lockhart winning.
So maybe the editor of the magazine has been like, it's a meme now. I'm just going to keep naming him.
Or it's 7 times. Doesn't he have 7 books?
Yes.
So maybe it was we are featuring this guy because he's got a new book out.
Yeah.
And
but it was
giving him a Most Charming Smile award.
But it was 5 times in a row. That's the achievement.
Ah, right.
But also the books. I mean, we did not hear about Lockhart in the first book, so I think he published the books very quickly, one after another.
Oh, I disagree. I don't think we would have heard about Lockhart because Harry is not up on his best-selling memoirs as an 11-year-old entering the world.
Yeah.
And you think Hermione would have only known about him in the second year?
I mean, I think Hermione might have, like, read one of his books, but it wouldn't have come up. Yeah.
In the first year, Hermione is very focused on making sure she is up to speed with her academics, and it's only once she is confident that she's, okay, yes, I'm acing this, that she starts broadening her horizons.
Yeah. Just, I don't think Lockhart's level of...
Penciling in time for some celebrity crushes.
Yeah. His level of, like, fame and sort of the whole ecosystem of, like, Lockhart mania, like, that doesn't spring up in a month or two, especially in a world without Twitter and YouTube.
Exactly. And, well, there's, Beatlemania, so...
But even that wasn't overnight.
No,
it takes some time. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. What else is in Witch Weekly? Because we know that there are recipes. Molly reads it for the recipes.
I always thought that was a reference to the idea of people reading Playboy for the articles, but...
Right. Or, when you're reading smutty books for the plot.
Yes, the romantasy of it all.
Yes. I know so many people who are watching Heated Rivalry for the plot.
Or for Dumbledore's sake, knitting patterns.
Good point.
Right, yeah.
If they don't publish them, he might just convince them to.
Yes.
He can be very convincing.
Yes. Being like, I, Albus Dumbledore, will give you an exclusive interview if you promise to always publish a knitting pattern.
Exactly. I will give you my hair care routine.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Earliest known knitting patterns, 1524, apparently. Just doing a quick Google, so... familiar.
Perfect.
Oh, and going back to the marbles thing, in 1503, Nuremberg in Germany limited playing of marbles to a meadow outside the town.
Oh,
so
I stand corrected.
Complaining about people playing lots of marbles, so...
Well, if anyone's lost their marbles, we know where to go.
Yep.
Sorry, that was bad.
A meadow outside Nuremberg.
Well played.
Yep. Sorry, a bit of a tangent, but yes. So knitting is another pastime that we know about and predates statute of secrecy.
So basically, we're talking about a gossip magazine with a bit of fashion, a bit of knitting, bit of recipes, maybe some new spells to make your hair look more luscious or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe the thing Hermione tried to make her hair look different.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm. They do have science magazines, Transfiguration Today and the Potioneer and all that, where, the august old wizards, read that and then meet at the Leaky Cauldron to debate the articles of Transfiguration Today.
Mm.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, someone finds that entertaining.
Yes. So this is more into my demographics kind of thing, which is, I disagree with you, Irvin. There's more than 2,000 people in the Wizarding World in the UK, way more than that. But we can get into that at a different time. The thing I'm thinking about is also, I think there's a lot more kind of cultural content not really catering to the 12-year-olds. Wizards tend to live a lot longer.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Dumbledore being he's old, but not unreasonably old. We've got a little Bagshot who's way older than he is, and Aunt Marge who's talking about, when Dumbledore was a teenager. So we've got, a fairly...
Oh, Auntie Muriel.
Aunt Muriel, yeah. Marge is the evil one.
Right, I was like, I didn't think she was that old.
So we're talking about a fairly significant, 100 to 150 age population.
Mm-hmm.
That also might influence how slowly the culture develops.
Yeah.
True. So you're just saying that, the Wizarding World hasn't had the young adult boom that came about as a result of Harry Potter being published.
No.
Or... Wait, we just haven't heard about it, because the first book is only published at the end of Deathly Hallows, according to the timeline. So we just don't see the YA boom in the Wizarding World.
I'm more thinking that you've got, a significant portion of the population born in, the 1820s, 1840s. So, the International Statute of Secrecy, that was only 120 years ago. It's one lifetime.
And that's sort of a Jane Austen type era, so look at what they did for entertainment.
I mean, and that's exactly how Gilderoy's dressed, so it makes sense.
Now that we talked about YA for a second, I just remembered something that I completely forgot. Didn't Ron read a comic about... Martin
Miggs the Mad Muggle.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, I had that in the doc, and I did want to talk about it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, then we'll talk about it later. But I just remember that. Yeah.
Segue.
No, I think that's going to be a sexy transition to the idea of books, and specifically fiction, and basically the headline here, and it's the one that I really am interested in, is that fiction, is barely a thing as far as we see in the Wizarding World. And I've been thinking about this ever since David Martin brought it up in his presentation about book culture, where basically the only fictional book that we engage with in the Potter series is the Tale of the Three Brothers. And so I was like, well, but we hear about so many books. What other fictional, stories and fictional books do we know of? So I went on a deep dive, and literally the only ones we have are the Tales of Beedle the Bard, the Toadstool Tales, which is the book of fairy tales that were so saccharine children vomited upon hearing them, And the only other one is Ron's comic book, The Adventures of Martin Miggs, the Mad Muggle. And that is a comprehensive overview of fiction in the Wizarding World.
Yeah.
And this is fascinating and flabbergasting to me.
Yes.
I mean, one thing is that, again, it's Harry's perspective. So he did not really grow up in the Wizarding World, and we don't know what other tales there might be, if it's just Beedle the Bard or what other comics exist in the Wizarding World, because...
I mean, no, obviously, like, something else exists.
Yes.
Like, it's not the one comic strip.
Yeah.
Also, fiction, I mean, our fiction often involves things that are very, very normal to them. So if they read a book about dragons, it's not really fiction anymore.
Well, I'm not saying fantasy. I think it makes perfect sense that, like, fantasy wouldn't be a thing in the Wizarding World. But, like, you know, like, rom-coms, coming-of-age stories, historical fiction, sort of, you know, all the, you know, big, wide world of fictional storytelling that, you know, is as accessible to wizards as us. And, like, what... The thing is, the Wizarding World, like... They have an appetite for storytelling because we see them reading, we see them consuming stories, like with, you know, like with great enthusiasm a lot of the time. But all of the books we hear about that are popular, that are read, are non-fictional. You know, memoirs are a hugely popular category of literature in the Wizarding World.
I mean,
and,
technically
you know,
we should probably put Lockhart's books under fiction. There's marketed as non-fiction.
Like, the things there happened, they're just, you know, they didn't happen with him.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, I'm just saying, not all memoirs and not all nonfiction is true. It's just presented as such.
Yeah.
Because I went through a list of the well-known memoirs we know of. So we have Magical Me by Lockhart, and I would say, like, all his other books, but Magical Me is, like, just about him. And those are clearly, you know, insanely popular. There is Harry Snout, Human Heart, which is about a wizard's struggle with lycanthropy. That's mentioned in Fantastic Beasts. There's Blood Brothers by Eldred Warple about his life among the vampires. And he's clearly very successful. He was the guest at the Slug Club holiday party. There's My Life as a Muggle by Daisy Hookham, which the famous wizard cards describe as a bestseller. And there's My Life as a Squib by Angus Buchanan, which is described as a groundbreaking worldwide bestseller on Pottermore. So, like, other than the werewolf one, which seems to be a popular classic, we, like, know that all these books are insanely popular and successful. So there's a very lucrative memoir market among wizards. So, yeah, I don't know quite what to make of it. And then in addition to that, there's also, like, regular biographies of other people, like Rita Skeeter's books, which also are very popular. You know, Auntie Muriel is like, gosh, I can't wait to read this one. You know, I so enjoyed the last one.
I wonder if it's like a mass adoption of the printing press issue we're dealing with. Like, press existed, but it hadn't been, you know, mass adopted at the time of the statute of secrecy. But, like, at the same time, just use quills that write for themselves, and you've got the writing issue dealt with anyway.
Well, but, like, they write books, they publish books, they make books. Like, you know, books are very much a thing. They're just all non-fictional. And, like, I looked this up. This, like, the lack of novels isn't a statute of secrecy thing, because novels were totally a thing in Europe in the 17th century. Don Quixote, I think, was, like, mid-1600s and was very popular.
Well, I'm going to push back on this slightly, because this is where my theory comes in on why this difference is. It's sort of related to the printing and sort of related to the novels. So Don Quixote was early 1600s, and sure, that was a big thing, but novels as a pastime in Britain apparently was caught on more with Robinson Crusoe, which was 1719.
Touché.
One of the big differences, though, the printing press had caught on, but what changed between the 1600s and the 1700s was copyright law. So in the 1600s, the early copyright law was set up to support the Printers Guild. So it was ensuring that only registered people could produce books and other stuff as printing press became more of a thing. It wasn't until the early 1700s that there started to be an interest in, like, that had fallen out of line and it became more of a, now we actually care about the author's copyright. Because previously, anyone who was a registered printer in the guild of good standing could make a printing of whatever they wanted. But after that change, suddenly the author has the right to say, I have the right to this book, and I decide who's going to produce it. Now, why does this matter for the difference between fiction and things? If you write a biography, someone else can print it, but it's still you. So it's kind of obvious that it's that. So you've got sort of built-in author recognition, whereas no one's going to bother trying to write and invent a novel, which is it's a challenging thing, when they're not going to necessarily make any money from it, because as soon as it's out there, if it's popular, anyone who wants to, as a printing press, can produce more of it, and you don't see any benefit from that. Whereas if you write your memoirs and they're popular, you get famous, or you write a textbook and it gets sold to umpteen million Hogwarts students and you make bank. So,
yeah.
That's why there's no novels in the Wizarding World.
I think that's a great explanation.
On that note, I think, and kind of taking this and kind of twisting it into going back to where we were with content of newspapers and things like that, both Dickens and Austen published a lot of their original work in smaller pamphlets. You get,
of course, yeah,
exactly. Mm-hmm. So a large part of either the Prophet or Witch Weekly could be these monthly or weekly updates on these stories. So you've got the literature coming that way, which would fill a lot more of the editorial content.
Sorry,
because we've
Matthew. I'm trying to understand. Why would fiction not be profitable under the system, but nonfiction would?
It's not that it wouldn't be profitable. It's that it wouldn't be profitable for the author.
Right. Why?
Because they don't have copyright of it.
You're writing a book, and then anyone can print it, and you don't get any money from it. That was the law before. And then it changed so that you own the book and they have to pay you to be able to print it. So being an author was really just a thing you did for yourself and not really to make any money. But compared to biography, where you would then get famous because it's about your life. And maybe get money through that fame.
Oh, it's not that you make money off the nonfiction, it's that you get fame and then make money. Okay, sorry, that was the step I was missing.
Exactly.
Yeah, you would be recognised for your nonfiction, but you wouldn't necessarily be recognised for your fiction.
Yeah. I mean, like, if we're looking at Austen, for example, the first books she wrote were owned to a large extent by the printers that she printed them with. She did not get money for those. She was actually quite poor for a large portion of her life.
And weren't they just published by A Lady or something like that?
Yes. A Lady was what was published under. And then it really took off when somebody accidentally switched them and published it under Lady A.
Okay.
Because then it's a lady, a member of the nobility that's writing this. Oh, that is very interesting. Who could Lady A be? And suddenly you have, anyway, why do I know this?
Under this system, wouldn't there be an incredibly lucrative market for ghostwriters. Oh, which I suppose there is, because Eldred Warple offers to do that for Harry. He's like, Harry, like, if we do a couple interviews, I'll write your biography, we'll make all the money. Mm-hmm. So, okay, so yeah, I guess, like, ghostwriter is very, very lucrative in the wizarding world.
Yeah, ghostwriter, vampire writer, werewolf writer.
Isn't that culturally insensitive towards ghosts?
Yes, that's exactly it.
So in the wizarding world, a ghostwriter is someone who tells a ghost's story because they can't hold a quill themselves.
I think that might also be a large portion of why there's so many phenomenal. The memoir culture of the wizarding world is maybe a lot stronger, is because of a higher rate of literacy among wizards, or literacy, at least the ability to write, because they have quills that can write for them. The prevalence of ghosts that were witnesses to things.
Yeah.
So you could have a lot more, like, you have a lot more wizards doing weird adventure like Newt Scamander. So, like, the average wizard might be living a much more interesting life than the average farmer in the 1600s. No offense to farmers in 1600, I'm sure you had a great life, but I'm fairly certain that...
Get ready for the comments.
Exactly, the hate from, I don't know, I'm going to make Gustav from Bremen, who's very angry about...
Yeah, Taavi, you're taking one in the comments section.
Luckily, he can't write.
I mean, if you want to get rotten fruit thrown at you, they're the right people to offend.
A literal pillory. There's definitely an interesting take there, I think.
Yeah,
that's my brand.
Yeah, I guess I'm just surprised that, like, this is something the Muggles and the Muggleborns haven't, like, brought into the wizarding world. Because, I mean, I get why that would be the case with the memoirs and all that, but, like, you could magically enforce copyright so much better than you can in our world. Like, you know, forget the, you know, digital millennium copyright, whatever. You could just, like, put an anti-Geminio curse on, you know, a book. I think. Yeah,
but the current system benefits certain people who have influence with politicians, then why would the system change?
Yeah, that's true, because the wealthy and influential people are the ones who got wealthy and influential with the current system. So
exactly.
Yeah. I don't know, are there no, like, Muggle-born bookworms, you know, entering this world and being like, I am going to write the next grade Bildungsroman?
Or just introduce the wizards to Dune and blow their mind.
Yeah!
I have a general thought about Muggle-borns, and I think the only reasonable reason for purebloods to hate Muggle-borns is the fact that I think that if you're a Muggle-born and you're not filthy rich, 2 years after leaving Hogwarts, you're doing it wrong. Muggle-borns should be the most obscenely nouveau riche wizards in the world. Because wizards are literally buying things with galleons, like they're paying silver coins for pens. Go to Office Depot or something and buy Bic. One little silver sickle, or whatever it's called, is going to buy you 1,000 pens, and you can, you know, quadruple your money in a day.
That's a violation of the statute of secrecy.
Melt the silver down.
Oh, you know there are anti-melting charms on the wizarding currency. It's not that easy.
The goblins would not approve.
No.
That is a popular fanfic trope.
And also, they would not just... Like, you still have to sell that to people. And who would buy, like, a new pen from a Muggle-born that works completely different? I think wizards are very conservative, and I don't think it's quite as easy. But yeah, I agree that there are probably gaps that you can fill.
And just, I'm really surprised by the character of Hermione because, like, you know, I see a lot of myself in her, especially at that age. And, like, listen, when you are a 12-year-old bookworm, like, entering this new world, like, she has a huge emotional attachment to books, and she reads so many books. And yet, like, we never see her, like, reading a fictional book. Like, not even in first year, you know, when she might not have internalized the Wizarding World's obsession with nonfiction. It's just, yeah, it's very puzzling. Like,
do you think so? Because if I would now enter the Wizarding World, I would read all about the Wizarding World and forget about all the fictional books from my past and just want to learn more and more about that amazing world, be it through textbooks or through biographies or anything I could get my hands on. So I don't think it's quite as surprising.
I mean, I find that they, like, scratch totally different itches. Like, yes, I'd want to learn all that, but, like, you know, the emotional payoff comes from reading fiction, and I don't think that I could, like, give that up cold turkey, even if I entered the Wizarding World.
Yeah.
I don't know that Hermione reads books for emotional payoff, though. She seems to read books for truth.
There's a literal light reading out of, you know, Hogwarts, a history, or like that's also the thing. Like, yes, she could read a fiction book about the Mad Muggle, which I'm sure she'll read because she wants to, you know, experience the wizarding perspective on Muggles. But I think she's going to prioritize the biography of Merlin.
Yeah,
because, like, it's Merlin. Or reading Hogwarts, a history, which is 600 years. Like,
I know that this is like a blind spot for me just because I hold, like, fiction so sacrosanct, and I was like, you know, I think it's of paramount importance, and what do you mean you don't read books? So, like, I get that this is just one of those, like, it's hard for me to grasp things, but... Yeah.
And maybe the theory with it being published in the newspaper is correct, because that was a widespread thing throughout all of Europe, and wizards are always behind. So maybe that is actually something that is happening, and Hermione reads the newspaper every day. Maybe, you don't know, maybe she reads 2 or 3 stories in there every day.
I like this theory, yeah.
Wait, do you guys think that in Muggle Studies class, they have to, like, read, like, a fictional Muggle book? They're like, you know, Muggles are into this weird stuff where they just make up stories and don't even pretend they're true. Like, for homework, please go read Oliver Twist.
Here's the issue. Do they know it's not true?
Well, that was kind of my question from the beginning. Does someone like Ron know about Shakespeare, because it has been there since pre-Statute of Secrecy? Is that something that is a household name? Do they read it? Do they know about it?
Not very popular. A bad attitude towards witches.
Yeah. I would think that depends largely on how much their theatrical industry is flourishing. Because we know that theater is very much a thing. Because we hear about the Wizarding Academy of Dramatic Arts, which is the only post-secondary education we hear about. So clearly theater...
So they seem to be into it.
Theater is a thing, but we don't know if there's, like, a robust, like, playwriting industry where they're putting on new shows, or if they're sort of putting on the classics of, you know, Shakespeare and the Tales of Beedle the Bard and this newfangled guy Ibsen, which I don't know for sure about him yet.
Given everything else in the Wizarding World, it seems like to be the latter. Stick to the classics.
Mm-hmm. Well, and if they're sticking to the classics, then, you know, it's sort of the ancient Greek playwrights. They're putting on, you know, Euripides and all the rest of them. And then probably Shakespeare, you know, except the offensive ones.
So I'm not sure how, and this might be a good segue as well, actually. We should come back to literature at some point. But Macbeth might have caused Shakespeare to be cancelled because of his portrayal of the witches. The issue is, is that there's a wizarding band named after them because they're called the Weird Sisters.
True.
But is that like an edgy thing in the wizarding world? So they're like, we're like so rebellious and so hardcore, we're going to call ourselves the Weird Sisters after you know.
That is exactly what I'm thinking. That is exactly.
Oh, I love that so much.
Yep. Headcanon accepted.
Because I'm like, I was thinking about like, and this is gonna drag Anthony Albanese through the dirt, but the Joy Division band and t-shirt he wore, like that's named after some pretty dark history. So like the Weird Sisters might be naming themselves after this like slanderous play that they hate. Yeah, my new headcanon.
That's good stuff.
Shakespeare was cancelled.
I mean, I wonder how much of Shakespeare's stuff you could look at through the lens of, was he a wizard? And a lot of the stuff with, like, say, A Midsummer Night's Dream was talking about they're not actually fairies, they're witches and wizards messing with the local muggles.
Yeah.
And using potions and such.
Yeah, no, I really like that. But so on the topic of like theatrical entertainment, though, I think it is so incredibly like dumb that Hogwarts doesn't do live theater. Because Dumbledore talks about this in the Tales of Beedle the Bard, where he's like, look, we tried the one time with the Fountain of Fair Fortune, and I have maintained a proud non-theatrical tradition to this day, decades later. And I was like, but why? Like, live theater is great. And you know what? When you don't have fictional books or television or movies, live theater is especially great. And so I guess like kids have to like apply to the Wizarding Academy of Dramatic Arts, like sight unseen. They're like, I don't know, maybe I'd like to act, give it a shot, like without ever having been part of a school play. I don't know. My personal headcanon is that Godric's Hollow has a thriving community theater where, you know, all the kids keep, you know, partaking in it like over summer vacation. And that's where they, you know, get their first taste of the theater.
I think it would have to be Hogsmeade. Because it has to be a non-muggle, wizarding only.
Well, no, because if the muggles see it, they just assume it's a fantasy play.
Yeah. Yeah, with really amazing special effects.
Already.
The special effects for this community theater production are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's like, I'll mention this before, but with the Muggle Studies course and being assigned like books to read, like which books would the Wizarding World read as our fiction and not? Like, would we be reading Jane Austen as if it were reality? Would we be reading, you know, I don't know.
Is it the wizards think the muggles think it's real, or
like wizards think it's an actual like biography?
Or wizards think it's a biography?
I think that might be true, seeing as how absurd their assumptions are in general about muggles.
Well, also the delineation between like, you know, fiction and nonfiction where history is concerned was happening, I think, I mean, 1600s, so like before the Statute of Secrecy, but I think it wasn't like there yet. Just because like I know that, you know, for example, Le Morte d'Arthur was published as nonfiction, as like not fiction or nonfiction. It was just published as like, here's the actual story of King Arthur. Like, what are you gonna do? Tell me it's not? So yeah, I don't know if they can even, if they even do differentiate as much between like, oh, this, you know, wasn't actually true, or if this like, you know, it's close enough to true.
I think there might also be, and this I think would be very, very interesting actually. And I know this was a thing back in the day, a lot more than it is now, but travel memoirs. Like we know, like Lord Byron published a lot of his travel memoirs back in the 1820s or 30s, I think. I don't know. That time. And he might have been, like, that might be a thing in Wizarding World as well, is like Newt Scamander publishing his travel memoirs from like his adventures catching different magical beasts, and that might be just as interesting and fascinating as fiction, to be honest. Just in the first person. I would read that.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yep. Well, okay. So staying on the topic of, live entertainment, clearly the live music scene is, thriving in the Wizarding World. The Weird Sisters perform, and, their presence at the Yule Ball is a very big deal. Celestina Warbeck, Joe Rowling's favorite off-screen character. Apparently her concert tickets go for, exorbitant prices, and are a very, very popular event.
What kind of music do you think that is? What kind of genre of music is that?
So Rowling said that it's kind of, like jazzy, think like Shirley Bass type thing.
Ah, okay. I always imagined it to be a bit more, I don't know.
Sorry, just random thought there that so in an alternative universe, Celestina Warbeck could have done a James Bond theme.
Oh, could have and should have.
Continue, Karen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. I'm just thinking, like, I don't even know the right word. Is kitsch a word in English
yes.
as well? So more like, more kitschy, not a bit, tiny bit leaning on trashy, but that's just from reading the lyrics, and so apparently I was way off there.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think Celestina sounds like whatever you want her to sound like. Have you heard her songs at the Wizarding World?
No, I've never been to the Wizarding World.
Oh, so they have Celestina Warbeck performing live, like in Florida. And it's so good. And they're like fun, like upbeat, like catchy, like sort of jazzy pop type thing.
Makes sense.
Yeah. It's really good.
Does that make sense? Because it from the text, it seems like, so Molly and Arthur danced to it, but mostly Molly seems to enjoy it, and all the kids think it's a bit kitschy. So for me, that doesn't kind of match.
I mean, the real world version of it has probably been to a bit more pop.
Yeah.
Thing, whereas the actual is probably more of a sort of smooth jazz loungy, which would feel more old fashioned and kitschy.
Yeah, well, and teenagers are going to be cynical, like either way. If it's poppy, they'll be cynical. If it's ballads, they'll be cynical. Sort of,
And if it's what my parents dance to, then it's obviously horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course,
yes, it is clearly Mermaid Song. And it cannot be listened to.
Yeah. Well, and also, most importantly, like, we mostly hear from teenage boys. And I think Celestina Warbeck's audience is female skewing, just based on what we hear of her.
Yeah.
Maybe. And talking about her, she had the Christmas broadcast where we learned about her, I think, for the first time. Do you think that's just her songs, or is it an actual broadcast with talking in between and like an actual radio show of hers?
It could go either way.
Because that also would be some form of entertainment if you have actual radio shows with people chatting along.
A bit of WWN?
Yeah. One of my favorite wizard rockers, Ashley Trix, she put out an album that was like a radio show. She called it WZRD. And so she would like have songs, then she would just have like 30 seconds of her like chatting in between. It's actually a really fun experience to listen to. Yeah, no, I'm going to Universal next month, and I am so excited to see Celestina. Like, it's always one of my favorite things there. Just because, like, it is really fun music. And I'm really perplexed why they don't sell CDs, because I'd buy one.
Well, if I ever go there, I'll ask you what I have to see and where I have to go.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely look and find her.
Very good idea.
So let's talk about the economics, because, fine, tax guy over here. So part of the Apocrypha says that Molly Weasley's never been to Celestina's concert just because, the tickets are so expensive. And I thought that was curious because, there can't be that big an audience that you can, keep tickets so sky high.
Well,
are we misinterpreting the concept of concerts here? Because given the style of the singer and the sort of smaller nature of the Wizarding World, maybe a Celestina Warbeck concert is more like an exclusive dinner party with a few tables around a sort of slightly smoky jazz lounge. And it's expensive because she wanders around and sort of sings a bit to each person individually, that kind of thing.
I would so go to that.
It's more of a musical Celestina Warbeck experience.
Yeah. So you don't think she's, filling the O2 arena?
No.
40,000 screaming fans?
I don't think so, no.
Absolutely not. Just think of the logistics for the Quidditch World Cup and then think about just having 3 artists performing twice a year. You can't do that. And obvious math aside, I think it's really just small concert halls.
Yeah, I think it might be more like she's more of a lounge singer kind of vibe. And the price is just high because he does one concert a year or something like that. And like an exclusive thing. For the Malfoys and the Blacks.
I mean, I don't know that you can make enough money from one concert to live on for a year.
Depends on what you charge.
I mean, sure, but... I have to imagine even the Malfoys and Blacks, would balk at paying, Taylor Swift prices every year for Celestina.
But does she get any kind of revenue from the radio?
She must.
Yeah, they're sponsored by Clean Sweep.
See, that's a way to get money. Does she sell... Is that just a movieism of the gramophone? Is there a way to buy music?
No, we don't know of any way for there to be recorded music.
I'm sure there has to be.
But I think so.
So does she write advertising jingles in her spare time?
But that would be an economic model, right? She performs on the radio, gets some money for that, and then makes the bulk of her money performing.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's actually not that far off from, today's music economy where no one makes money from recorded music.
Mm.
Yeah.
Just for different reasons.
Yeah. I know. It is funny because, in the 2020s, the premium on live entertainment actually makes it more similar than I think the 90s and 2000s were to the Wizarding World, where we were all sort of, paying to go see movies and buying CDs of music and stuff.
But you're not paying the artist, you're paying Ticketmaster.
Yes.
Yeah. And also it's harder to buy music now because it's all on streaming and you don't own it, you just are renting it for until the service decides that you can't have it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep yelling at people to get off my lawn, and I don't use streaming service for music. I have MP3s of all my songs.
Okay, old man.
Yep. I also walk uphill both ways in the snow.
I'm going to ruin the Wizarding World now and and say that magic would be the perfect way of putting a paywall in front of everything.
Like I said, copyright law is so much better enforced in the Wizarding World.
The text of this book will disappear unless you mail 1 galleon to...
Or while you're reading a book, every 5 minutes an advertisement appears from the book.
Like the new HP fridges.
Oh my God, you're just turning books into the internet. No, thank you.
Yeah, just a scrolling line of text at the very top of each page being like, And the new Firebolt can be bought by mail order unless your name is Sirius Black and you're a criminal.
Oh my god, I hate that.
Tap the book twice and we'll send an owl to you.
I hate it so much.
You and me both.
Where were we?
Yeah. We were on live performance.
We're on live performance, yeah. We want to get back into music.
Recording music, yes.
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 Yeah.
That's what
Recording music.
It's got to be possible. Like, it has to be a possibility.
It's a possibility. I'm guessing it's not done.
They have to realize it. That's the issue with the Wizarding World. They can do a lot of stuff. They just don't realize they can. It's like, oh, right. That is something you can do.
Yeah. Again, where is, like, the Muggleborn who, like, has her little, like, MP3 player with 100 songs on it, hears Celestina on the radio, and she's like, oh my god, where can I get her CD? And then the answer is nowhere, and she's like, oh, no, we're fixing that.
Electricity doesn't work at Hogwarts.
But how do radios work? If radios work, then...
Magic.
That's the thing. They're familiar with wireless radio, so if you showed them an MP3 player, the average wizard would just assume, oh, okay, so you've got a really small radio.
Yeah, that you can control.
That's what's sort of special about it, and you can turn it off. And I didn't realize they were playing at the moment. But yeah, they've got no reason to assume that it's a pre-recorded, stored thing, because that's not physically obvious from an MP3 player. Might be obvious from a gramophone if gramophones were a real thing in the Wizarding World. But
I'm guessing that gramophones were a dominant technology for a short enough period of time, like a century or so, that they didn't make their way to the wizards.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, like, my general thought here is that maybe they just haven't realized that recording is a thing, and, like, Mrs. Weasley is like, hey, radio, play Celestina Warbeck. And it just starts playing Celestina Warbeck.
Do you mean it's like a picture, or where you can just repeat things and just
tell
it what to play?
What I'm calling it a bit of a Siri situation.
Yeah, so it is an MP3 player. They're just calling it a radio.
If you know the code for Celestina, just play Celestina. And that might be what they charge for.
Yeah.
It's Spotify. No.
Or it's the other side of that spectrum, and Celestina Warbeck is just like playing on the radio when she's actually playing.
Yeah, you can't expect her to stick around all day. She's got things to do.
Yeah.
To harken back to the chocolate cards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Rather random thought. In Charms class, they do things like make things dance. Can they make something play music? And if so, what music is it? And would that cover a lot of the sort of pre-recorded, I'm just going to charm my couch cushion to play a background music?
My assumption is that the pineapple was not performing a really complex dance. It's not like a finely tuned Argentine tango that you're seeing.
That's a skill issue.
But they can enchant instruments, so they can... we have the harp, we have that is playing, so they could just... You could buy an orchestra full of instruments and just have it playing for you.
Yeah, so maybe... the reason by the radio is that a very skilled wizard has enchanted it to be able to play these things. And if you were to do yourself to a radio-looking thing, it wouldn't have the same quality or consistency.
Yeah.
Or at the Wizarding wireless offices, they have the aforementioned charmed full orchestra of things that they can have one wizard conducting and getting to play a music live to go on the radio, but it only requires the one person as opposed to a whole orchestra.
Where does the harp source its music from? Is it something like the harp knows, like a harp just knows a couple of tunes and it just plays that? Or did Hagrid tell the harp what to play? Or does it work like AI, where it just like knows all the songs and just puts something together?
It was Quirrell, not Hagrid, that had the harp.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Hagrid gave Harry a flute.
Yeah.
True.
Which probably
so
knows through
Quirrell.
blind mice.
Yeah. And as we know from Brian Rosenthal, Quirrell is very well versed in music and has the voice of an angel.
Exactly. No, what I was thinking here actually is that just like how paintings are kind of imbued with the personality of their name, their thing, a contact, through the person actually talking with it. Like the headmaster's portraits, like Dumbledore's portrait is turned into a very accurate Dumbledore by speaking to Dumbledore for years. Maybe these harps and instruments can only really play things that have been played on it.
Yes. Or even for it.
That makes sense.
Like, you could, have... Well, if you have recorded music, which I guess we don't, but, like, you could be like, hey, harp, we're going to play this melody for you on the piano right now. Like, you're learning this right now. And then the harp can regurgitate it.
Possibly, but I like my idea better. I'm partial.
So everything that has been played on the harp can be replayed.
Yeah, if it's been played while doing that enchantment, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Because it also kind of like it maintains the personality of the artist. Like it's not just playing the music; it's playing how that music was played, which is
you can't just give it a sheet of music and make it just play. You have to give soul to the music. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a great market, actually, being like, this harp comes preloaded with 28 different songs.
I mean, maybe that's what Celestina Warbeck is doing to earn her money. She's playing an instrument all the time. Like, give me the next instrument. I'm going to record all those 50 songs on
Yes.
And that's how the gramophone, because she sings into the cone, and then the cone.
Oh,
then you saw the cone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, that's fascinating.
So you're not buying a CD, you're buying a whole gramophone.
Yes.
Exactly. And the actual artist has sung for that gramophone.
You need a bit more storage space, but yeah.
Well, I imagine the, like, really, really rich ones, the Malfoys, probably buy a whole bunch of instruments. They buy, like, a harp and a piano and a bass guitar and drums that all know the same songs. And so then they can have, like, a whole orchestra play them.
I think that's, like, rich, but like, rich, you have the actual artist playing.
Well, I mean, even the eventual artist, like, can't be at your beck and call 24/7.
It depends on how rich you are.
Yeah.
You don't have the problem of the instruments falling out because the violin was caught dalliancing with the cello's partner.
Yeah, exactly.
And the viola is in the corner being very, very upset.
Yeah.
Because no one takes it seriously.
Yeah, and the bass guitar doesn't have plans on Christmas, so it's available.
And there we've lost 500 viola-playing listeners.
We're getting hate comments from everyone. First the farmers,
from all
now
corners.
the violas.
Exactly. Don't worry, viola players, you're special too.
Yeah.
We just can't tell the difference between you and violins. Sorry.
I am, like, in no way versed in music. Like, I like songs that I like. I can't tell you why I like them. I can't tell you what instruments are being used. I was like, this sounds good to me. So I'm completely, like, in the what's the word? Yeah, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Is the short version.
So it's bass, cello, violin, viola, fiddle.
I've heard all those words.
That's an order of size, isn't it?
Yeah, and
roughly.
And ish.
I mean, the fiddle and the violin is basically the same. It's just how you play it.
Tuned differently, or
more the style, I think, of how you like the kind of music, and the violin technique is more. Yeah. The technique is.
We are clearly experts on this.
Yes.
Yeah, really the hate we're going to get is from our, like, music-savvy listeners.
Know how to work a soundboard? No. I have no technical ability, and I know nothing about music. You must know something.
Well, I know what I like and what I don't like. And I'm decisive about what I like and what I don't like.
So what are you being paid for?
Well, it's just if we do an episode on music, just don't have me as a guest. I won't be able to contribute much.
Right, if we do an episode on music, no one here is on the panel.
Yeah.
I mean, presumably Patrick would be good for that.
Yes.
Go back to the Argentine tango dancing pineapple. I can help with that one. But
Oh, me too. Yeah. I was teaching someone to do tango yesterday at her birthday party.
What?
So, yeah. Well, it was a whole thing. So, because I was in Argentina a month ago, and I took a class in Argentine tango. Well, and the first thing that they...
As you do.
As you do. And the first thing they told me is, like, everything you know about dance is completely wrong. And I was like, great. But then I took a lesson for an hour, so I'm now an expert in Argentine tango, obviously.
well, that is basically how we treat Americans. Everything you know about X is completely wrong. Especially bread.
Yeah. And so yesterday we were celebrating one of my aunt's friends who's like really into taking dance classes. And so obviously everyone was like doing skits and little mini performances for her birthday. And so ours was like, welcome to Irvin's School of Argentine Tango.
Nice.
So I've been dancing tango for 14 years.
Oh,
Wow, impressive.
I really should have come to you when we were planning this skit because I was planning it based on 1 hour of knowledge.
Yeah, so I've been dancing since I was 14 or 15 years old.
That's
That's
awesome.
impressive.
Give or take. My mom forced me.
International tango, Argentine, or all manner?
Argentine, specifically milonga style, or milonguero style, milonga and tango vals. Love all three. But speaking of dance and teaching dancing, let's make Ronald Weasley suffer.
Yes!
And talk about a bunch of babbling, bumbling buffoons and the Yule Ball. Dance.
We got back on topic.
Yay!
Segue.
Yes, that is the most important skill we require of our hosts. It's the ability to eventually one day get back on topic.
Sexy transitions.
My media training is doing me well.
Yes, dance. They dance at the Yule Ball.
Terribly, but yes. Mm-hmm. Actually, they dance pretty well. Like the Durmstrang guys I want their outfits.
They're looking pretty nice.
I'm honestly a little surprised that, like, considering that the 4 champions need to, like, open the ball and everything, you'd think they'd give them, like, a 1 hour waltz lesson. Like...
So I believe they did.
I'm not...
I just don't think Harry showed up.
Or maybe that's something, I don't know if that's a thing in everywhere. It's probably not the thing everywhere. But for me, in our school or where I'm from in Germany, at a specific school year, most kids take half a year or year of dance lessons. And maybe that would have been still coming for Harry, like a couple years later, but he was way too young to be a champion, so he had not been to dance lessons yet, and they just forgot about that.
7th year.
Counterpoint, we're with Harry for 5th and 6th year, and there are no dance lessons mentioned, and I feel like they would have been mentioned.
7th year.
7th year, because champions are only 7th year.
No, champions are 17 and up, which is 6th year.
Oh, right. Yeah, but who'd take a 6th year with 7th year? Come on, they have no talent.
Maybe it's in the summer between 6th and 7th year. No, it doesn't make any sense anyway.
Yeah, well, it's
maybe it's an elective course and Harry just never took it.
That's probably it.
Like arithmancy.
Yeah.
Or maybe it happened before he had the balls to ask a date.
Right, you could only do that when you had a date.
And he's like...
and he just did that very last minute.
Me.
Wow. Point is, Hogwarts needs dance classes.
Yes. Yeah, so they can spin around like the Durmstrang guys and have the capes flapping in perfect choreography, because that is definitely realistic.
Sorry, I heard that as Durmstrangle, which sounds like a sort of exotic form of assassination.
I mean, that would be on brand for Victor Crumb, so...
It's a signature move on the Quidditch pitch. They get the chasers to sort of surround the opposition seeker to prevent them from getting the snitch.
You know, they definitely need dance classes. And, like, An interesting idea is, this is a bit of a segue into a different area of entertainment and culture as well, is kind of what dancing is acceptable. Where is the wizarding world when it comes to sexuality? Because now I'm being a dance nerd. The waltz was actually really, really controversial, for example.
Yeah.
Because it was so intimate.
It's very, very close together.
It is very close together. So, like, back centuries ago, you'd have parents discussing, do we let our children waltz? Because it's so inappropriate. Which I love. It's such a weird thing. It's like, I was like, nobody waltzes, but like back in the day, it was really inappropriate. So where is the wizarding world in that spectrum? What dance is appropriate? Is it something that was like, allowed back in 1650, or is it something more modern, like a bug, like a Lindy Hop or a jive?
So you don't think they're doing the lambada there?
No, I don't. I don't think they're doing the and jive from Greece either.
I mean, my impression is that the Wizarding World isn't terribly buttoned up, because like that all came more from the Victorians. Like they're the ones who like were really, really conservative.
Yeah.
Or had the biggest distinction between what they showed themselves to do and what they actually got up to.
Yeah.
Because behind the scenes Victorians, whoo boy.
Part of my Harry Potter lore is that after the Dark Lord fell, the former Death Eaters formed a dance troupe, which is how my dance troupe, the Dancing Death Eaters, came about.
Probably what happened, yeah.
I mean, like I always say, introducing us at concerts, after the Dark Lord fell, we were really bored, and so we did the logical thing to entertain ourselves. We formed a dance troupe. And no one has ever questioned that.
Sounds very logical. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing when it comes to the Wizarding World and like the separation there, timeline-wise, like we've got the Victorians being more conservative. We have like the more liberal, I guess, or socially liberal 1600s. We also avoid Beau Brummel in the 1790s to 1810s with the dandyism.
Good call.
And the blackening out of menswear, which is why we see the wizards not really getting the memo about color.
Ron shouldn't be so ashamed about his costume, then.
Exactly. I love that.
Yeah.
Yes, because men's fashion is awful. and apparently has been since then.
Yeah, no, Beau Brummel's like, let's not have any color anymore. It needs to be black and white. Little penguins.
Gross.
Yeah.
But the Wizarding World be like, let's dress in pink and purple robes for everyone.
I like it much more.
Me too.
With all the colors.
Well, I think we can go from dance to other manner of sport, and generally go in on sort of the last major source of entertainment in the Wizarding World, which is sports and games.
You heard it here, folks. Dance is a sport.
I mean, if you've ever seen dancing, you should know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other popular sports apart from Quidditch and arguably dancing, maybe, in the Wizarding World?
Popular, no.
There is, well, we're talking about the British and Irish, Welsh and Scottish Wizarding World here, right?
Yes.
We have the discussion. I believe there was something about Durmstrang flying on pine trees.
Flying on pine
I
trees.
don't know if this is a headcanon for me or if it's something.
That might be a headcanon. I don't recall that.
Well, my question comes from the name of the Department of Magical Games and Sports with an S. So implies more than one sport. So Quidditch and what?
There's Actually, I think that this is time for the 7 ingredients of today's special. Because per Quidditch Through the Ages, we know of 7 different games that are played on flying brooms. that could be part of the department.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So the 7 games are Quidditch, duh. There's an annual broom race in Sweden that is apparently a huge international to-do. Wizards come in from all over the world to do the race and all that. Which, like, my follow-up question to that one is, why is this not literally everywhere? Like, why isn't this, like, the Wizards' version of a marathon and they just have broom races all the time? But anyway, they have a game called Stitchstock, which is defunct now. The Irish have a, oh good lord, Engengein? Something to that effect, which seems to still be a functional sport. There's Creathcon, which is now defunct because most people died. There's Shunt Bumps, which is now a kid's game. And there's Swivenhodge, which is still a sport that's played in Britain. So I'm guessing some of those fall under the purview of the Department of Magical Games and Sports. Admittedly, I'm sure that most of those have, like, one employee in the department dedicated to them, and then, like, 95% of the department is Quidditch. But there it is. So
what does this department do? Because we know they organize probably the World Cup.
Well, I assume that they organize the British and Irish Quidditch League, you know, the 13 teams always playing each other.
So do people travel to watch their favorite teams play?
Yeah.
Because that seems like... I always have in my mind how logistically impossible it was to do the Quidditch World Cup. Of course, that was a much, much larger event, but still having teams... all play each other, which means a lot of games throughout the year. That seems like a lot of work.
Well, I don't think it's that bad because you can build out the infrastructure once, right? Like, the problem with the Quidditch World Cup is it needs to be so secure and it's on such a huge scale. You have international arrivals, you have a bazillion people like who are camping out. Whereas I think the British and Irish Quidditch League, under the auspices of the department, probably has, like, you know, a dozen stadiums somewhere near where the teams are, with the muggle repelling charms and this, that, and the other. And you can just, you know, play games there. And if the audience is, like, you know, 1,000 people and not, you know, 100,000 like the World Cup was, it seems doable. You don't need to, like, do 2 weeks of arrivals then.
Yeah.
And if you're not traveling there, do you listen to the games on the radio? Or how do you follow your favorite teams?
Well, definitely in the Daily Prophet, because we know they have the Quidditch scores there.
Of course.
I imagine that you could listen in on the radio.
Of course. I think, like, a lot of people were listening to sports back in the day. That's a very common thing.
Yeah.
I would say.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and you have the commentator at the, at least in Hogwarts, there's one, and you could just broadcast that.
Maybe a little bit more impartial, but yes.
Maybe you have 2 commentators, one for each team.
Or maybe have impartial sports moderators.
Maybe, yeah.
That are, you know, not from one of the houses. About the playing.
But I imagine that, like, because Quidditch is so popular and there's a bazillion games, but also because, like, the Wizards' entertainment budget is going to basically be, like, tickets to Quidditch and tickets to Celestina Warbeck concerts. So, yeah, I imagine that, like, most people do go watch Quidditch games. And, you know, even when the Weasleys are going to the Quidditch World Cup, because we've said that they're about as poor as Wizards can be, even they aren't like, oh, it's our first time ever seeing Quidditch live. So I think even they've probably made it out to, you know, watch Quidditch on occasion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not talking like a World Series game. You're talking about a regional match.
Yeah, no, of course. But you can't always travel to every game.
Yeah.
People have work and school.
Yeah.
So there must be another way of following. And I think radio would be the most sensible.
Because just doing the math, if there's 13 teams in the league and each team plays each other team in a round robin, then I think that's like 70-something games.
It's actually 14.
Like 78? Huh?
14. So I think it might be elimination.
Wait, where are you getting 14 games?
A Harry Potter wiki, I think I counted 14.
I definitely don't believe that.
Wasn't there a team that used to exist and got...
Possible. It's very possible. But they also have the national team.
No, per Quidditch Through the Ages, we know that there are 13 teams in the league. And I believe it said somewhere that they play a round robin.
Well, that complicates things. But
also, I think, like, math in the Wizarding world just doesn't... It works differently somehow.
math
Well,
and the
but-
Oscar
but-
don't add up.
But what's the issue with that? If there's 70 games, that's a game every 5 days. So, like, you'd have, like, one a week or, like, 2 a week and then elimination round.
Mm. Have a season as well, so you can't have it all year, every year. I don't think you're playing Quidditch in the winter. Willingly.
Yeah, so yeah, call it 2 games a week. That seems doable.
Yeah.
It's true.
So yeah, so I think, if someone really, really, really wanted to, they probably could go to every match during the year. But I imagine most people go to either what's nearby or when their favorite team is playing, or when they're available.
Yeah.
And the finals are at Hogsmeade.
Yeah. Well, also, like, apparently Quidditch games can go on for, like, weeks at a time. But most of them seem to be, like, a, couple-hour-long affair.
Mm.
That also might with the Wizarding economy.
Yeah.
What happens if a team is scheduled for 2 matches and one match hasn't ended yet?
That is what the Department of Magical Games and Sports is for. All the wizards there open up their equivalent of wizarding spreadsheets and start, moving the calendar around.
It's like there's this aspect with that one match went really long. They had to take in reserve players again and again and again, right?
Yeah.
Like how many sets of reserve players do you need to have to maintain a Quidditch team in good playing order if, like, a game is taking 48 hours?
I mean, I imagine you could do, like, 2 full sets of reserves.
Yeah.
That way, sort of like, everyone plays, like, 8 hours a day, which admittedly doesn't sound like fun, but sounds like, physically possible.
But I think that was also not a very common occurrence.
Yeah. Also, let's be honest, Oliver Wood could absolutely play 48 hours by himself.
Oh, he would love that.
Yeah, that's his
He'd
dream.
have to sleep for a week afterwards, but he would do it.
Yeah. I really hope that Oliver Wood holds the record for, like, longest uninterrupted time on the Quidditch pitch, because I imagine he would.
I mean, I think he would fight somebody to stay on the pitch.
Yeah, that's my thought as well.
Probably.
Yeah.
Clinging onto the hoop, saying, "No, I can still play, coach."
Yeah. Being like, hold on, I could just cast a spell and I'll be fine. Caffeinadius!
Probably counts as doping.
I mean, it doesn't in the Muggle world. You can have as much caffeine as you want.
Yeah, you just can't have Felix Felicis.
Yeah. Again, caffeine is, like, a remarkably accepted drug for, like, all the shit it does to us. I love it.
We know you do.
Listen, y'all would get many fewer podcasts without it.
Speaking of caffeine, this is a bit of a tangent. There was an experiment in Sweden where the king decided to experiment how long would people drinking coffee and not drinking coffee survive. It took 2 twins. Let one drink coffee, the other one not. What happened? The king and the doctors doing the study died before the twins did. So we never found out.
Oh, well.
For science.
Alas.
Well, another very, very, very important game, so important that it's mentioned in the department, is Gobstones.
Yes.
Probably not quite as popular as Quidditch, but still a game that has its own, or is mentioned in a department.
Yeah.
Is mentioned. And for those of us who might not know what Gobstones is, what is Gobstones?
I got you, because this is actually well established in the Apocrypha. So Joe wrote that Gobstones is an ancient wizarding game that resembles marbles. The principal difference being that every time a point is conceded, the winning stone squirts a foul-smelling liquid into the loser's face. Players start the game with 15 small round Gobstones each, they're sold in sets of 30, and the winner must capture all of his opponent's stones. So I get why this isn't as popular as Quidditch, just because it's hard to watch. Quidditch, you have players flying on, 50-foot hoops. If you're playing marbles without, a Jumbotron or, a high-definition TV zooming in, I don't think it works very well as a spectator sport.
Yeah.
Also, it smells.
Well, only for the players.
Are you sure?
It might be quite unpleasant to play. Get 15 stinks in your face, or fly on a broom. You choose.
Yeah. Well, also the players, wouldn't be able to, enjoy the groupies because they'd stink after playing. So, obviously, no one would want to play.
Of course, that's what you're thinking about. All the fans. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, omnioculars could work like the equivalent of a Jumbotron, because they can zoom in and do instant replays and things.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like everyone has those.
No. They really should have thought of that at the Triwizard Tournament.
Also, again, that would be a terrible way to watch. Being like, okay, everyone, omnioculars on, and you're just watching the whole game through omnioculars. Yeah, no, it doesn't sound like fun.
Or you could record the game through omnioculars and then give an edited replay later. Changing the speed so that it sort of goes very fast through most of it and then slows down dramatically when
they squirt the liquid
is scored.
Yeah.
And we just found wizarding movies again.
I mean, that proves that you can record something with wizarding technology.
Yes. Again, the technology is there. Someone just needs to think to use it.
Getting back to the game, is it more a game of luck and skill, or do you need to think about things? I have no idea how marble works.
No, me neither.
So I'm is it more like bowling? Of course, it's not like bowling, but you just push marbles around, or do you have different marbles with different points and you need to put them in specific positions to kind of? I'm thinking more is it more like bowling or more like chess?
From my own memory of marbles, isn't it you've got marbles in a circle and you're trying to flick one of yours to knock your opponent's ones out of the circle, and if you do that, you've taken that stone, but that may just be a variant of it. I don't know. Maybe,
but then how is it because from my reading of it, it was always more like a game, like a nerdy game that nerds play and where you need to think about things. But maybe that was just my reading of it, because that doesn't sound very much like it. Because the game you're just describing with marbles, I think we played that in kindergarten. So I don't know what the what the appeal of that game is.
I think this is it, with the added bonus of trying to shoot the gobstones towards your opponent to use the squirt of the stone to impair the opponent.
Sounds even more fitting for a kindergarten game.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, which is why no one respects the adults who play it. That explains its reputational damage.
Yeah.
What a terrible game.
Well, and then we see that the wizards have thoroughly embraced chess, but only at the amateur level. We see so many people playing chess. We know that, many of the Weasleys do, Percy does, Ron's grandfathers do. Harry plays with Seamus's set, so, it's very much a thing. McGonagall obviously plays. It's very much a thing that people play, but we never hear of, professional chess player ranks. We never hear of, the elite ranks. So, I'm guessing that it's not so much an organized sport as it is just a thing people play for fun, which also is a shame, because I think Ron's best path to, the glory and fame that he craves would be as a chess grandmaster, but I guess it's not available.
I mean, chess was certainly existed well before the Statute of Secrecy, but when did institute the idea of competitive chess and grandmasters and the ranking systems? When did all that come in?
Oh, that's a good question that I should have Googled beforehand.
Yeah.
Grandmaster chess. Let's see. Usage of Grandmaster for an expert was recorded in 1590, but the first known use of it in connection with chess was in 1838.
So well after the Statute of Secrecy.
And more importantly is the sort of the ranking system that they use to rate chess players. Like it gives you
the FIDE rating.
Yeah, whatever it is. Because that's sort of a necessary component.
Yeah. So chess became widespread and popular in the 19th century. And sort of the events around chess were organized late 19th century. So yeah, I think in the Wizarding World they just play chess for fun.
They were doing it before the Muggles. Perfect.
Well, they don't seem to have any other board games. There's no version of Monopoly where you buy Nocturne Alley or Hogsmeade's Main Street or anything.
I mean, that's also much more modern. I think, I'm sure they must have, some, old, kind of, checkers or backgammon kind of games.
Yeah, domino, all of those.
Yeah.
Old Viking games, that kind of thing. The really interesting thing with Wizarding Chess for me is kind of the wizarding wizard to chess set relationship. Because you don't only have to understand the game, you also have to be able to convince your pieces to play how you want to play. So it kind of takes more of a tactical leader to do it as well.
Is it more a thing of the chess board or the chess figures kind of feel and know how good you are and therefore trust you more to not get hurt on the board? Or if someone plays for, let's say, 100 years with the same chessboard but is terrible at chess, would they be able to communicate very well with the board? So
they've built up a good rapport with their pieces, but the pieces don't know how to play chess any better than them. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, more like when do the figures start listening to someone? Is it because of your skill level, because they take you more seriously, or is it because you developed a relationship with them?
I mean, I think a bit of both. I think they'll respect you quicker if you are a successful player, but that they'll eventually come to have a relationship with you either way.
Yeah. Or does it reset each time they get taken, and so each game is a process of sort of winning over your pieces?
I don't think that's the case, because Ron is very much they say that in the book, right? That Ron knows how to communicate with his own chessboard,
and they trust him. Whereas Harry's pieces are like, "Who the f*** are you? You're not Seamus. Don't tell me what to do. I don't want to die for this nincompoop."
Yeah.
That's a great tagline for the Harry Potter series. I don't want to die for this nincompoop.
The other game that we see is Exploding Snap, which is, cards, but they explode.
Which I have to mention, because, and probably everyone knows already, but I have to mention it. The German translation, the original German translation of Exploding Snap is just so much better than the actual game, because I don't know why, but until 2008, it was called Snape Explodiert, which means exploding Snape. So for me, reading the books, I always thought of little Snapes that would just explode. And there is even somewhere a section where I think they play Exploding Snap or Exploding Snape, and they hide that they're playing the game from Snape. So I always thought it was something they invented to make fun of Snape and just hid it from him. And only until when I read the English books much later, I realized it has nothing to do with Snape, but it would be much more funnier to play if it was actually Snape exploding.
Damn it.
Wait, and is Snape still Snape in German?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
So I'm imagining like the cards now have little pictures of Snape on them.
Yeah, that's
You sort of
absolutely what I pictured. as a
Yeah.
child.
before they explode, you get the brief sort of oh no.
Honestly, if that were the case, it would be Harry's favorite game. He'd be like,
It would
Quidditch,
be,
what?
It would be.
Oh, I did not know that. That is so funny.
It's really great. There are a couple of translation mishaps, and this one is my favorite because and again they only changed it in 2008, which was quite late.
I mean, I do think that the best Snape-related translation mishap is the Russian one. So in the first Russian translation, because it was so bad they did it twice, but in the first one, they changed Snape to Snow, like Professor Snow, which is fine, except for the chapter that begins with "Snow was falling onto the Hogwarts grounds." And you're like, wait, what happened to him?
Well, combine the two, and you have a much more funnier book.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
Mind you, like, they never did get a good Snape translation because the second Russian one is he's Professor Mean-tius Meaner. Like, he's just so mean. His name is Mean twice. It's like,
Well.
So I get that you want us to distrust him, but you might have overdone it.
I mean, the greatest name translation for Harry Potter, I think, is Norwegian for Dumbledore.
Wait, what's that one?
Listener.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
I don't care what it means, it's just fun to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And is like the first word for bumblebee. And then snur is like twist, so bumble twist.
Bumble twist. I mean, Dumbledore is kind of Bumble Twist.
Yeah. Frankly, I'm amazed there isn't a Harry Potter character named Bumble Twist. It's a very Rowling-esque name.
Yes.
So, talk of magical games and sports, somewhat adjacent to it. We do see what a big, like, exciting, bit of entertainment looks like in the Triwizard Tournament. And I had two thoughts about this. The first is that, boy, it's clear that the Wizards are not used to putting on spectacles for a big audience. Because at least one, and I mean, probably two of the three tasks have absolutely nothing to watch. Like, the funniest bit in Puffs is during the second task when they're like, you hear the splash and they're like, we're looking at a lake. Just looking at a lake. Cut to an hour later where they're still looking at the lake.
Where is a Jumbotron when you need it?
Right? And, like, the maze is probably the same thing, unless they have, like, an aerial view into the maze. It's kind of unclear. But, like, if the hedges are 20 feet high, I don't think you're seeing much in that maze. So, yeah, Wizards are not good at spectacle.
And also, nobody is allowed to watch that, right? Apart from the school, and then at the last task, the family of the champions. Yeah. So it's just entertainment for the schools.
I don't know if I believe that. I'd assume that, like, other people came to watch at least the first task. Because, like, why not?
When in doubt, blame Ludo Bagman. That incompetent buffoon.
True.
Mm-hmm.
And in the movies, they at least stand on platforms in the lake. And I think in the books, they're just... like,
they're just
next to the lake,
they're just on the side of the lake. They like wade in, and then Harry's like, "Well, I guess I'm gonna go under."
Goodbye.
Yeah. I mean, like, if they were on platforms, like they had like omnioculars that could see through water, it might have been actually like a pretty fun thing to watch.
Yeah,
but I
can see through water and have like an 85 times optical zoom.
Yeah, I think the real case, the problem here is that Ludo Bagman was too distracted running away from goblins.
Sure, but like...
maybe.
He's not the only one who did this.
Where's my gold?
Yes, but can you imagine Crouch doing anything for the purpose of entertainment?
But also, he was imperious this entire time, and he's not a fun guy.
Yeah. No, he wasn't.
Yeah, no.
They were working on the tournament for ages before Crouch was Imperious.
But he was always not a fun guy.
Yes,
That
that's
has
true.
Nothing
That's
to
true.
do with
Yeah.
Imperious.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe there was like a person commentating and just like
Yes,
swimming around, and then they broadcast it.
that would sound wonderful.
Oh, that's even better. We're looking at a lake and listening to screaming.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Little Mermaid Choir.
It sounds like Dumbledore's idea for entertainment.
Yeah. I don't know. If I were a spectator, I'd be really pissed. Because again, you don't have a lot of options. You're like, oh, this is going to be like the fun thing to do this weekend. And then you're looking at a lake.
They canceled Quidditch for what?
Right? First of all, the fact that they canceled Quidditch in the fourth book is so dumb. Because, like, this takes up 3 days. So just, like, make sure the champions aren't also on the Hogwarts Quidditch team. And then the other 6 days that Quidditch takes up, y'all can handle it.
Well, but they have to be on the Quidditch team, because if they're not on the Quidditch team, they don't matter for the plot.
I mean, yes, that's true.
You have to be a seeker if you're going to matter in any other house.
Yeah. Honestly, though, like, I do think it's surprising they don't have more events like the Triwizard Tournament. Because, like, again, at least to me, it seems like there's a big dearth of entertainment in the Wizarding world. And this is, like, a fairly straightforward way to do it, right? Like, have sort of, contests of magical skill and daring do, like, get the best wizards to compete in something that, puts on a show. Obviously, like, not on the scale of the Triwizard Tournament. Don't, like, get the international wizards in and import dragons and all that. But, like, you could do something like this on a smaller scale all the time.
They tried to have a dueling tournament back in second year, and look how that turned out.
Yeah.
It wasn't a tournament. It was an educational endeavor.
It was a dueling club, but they should have tournaments as well. Tournament.
Yes,
good.
they should.
It could have become a tournament had it caught on, but yeah.
Also, like, could have.
I think their mistake is that they don't hire a safety officer on their team, on their planning committee. Because if they did that, I think we would have much more of those events.
I think the Department of Magical Games and Sports is meant to do that.
I sure.
Given the Wizarding world's usual approaches, what's a safety officer?
Yes, that too.
Which is why we don't need to have a Wizarding show called Jackass. It's just the entire thing.
So I wonder, like, if Muggleborns, and honestly some purebloods that are enlightened or have taken Muggle studies, like, if they would just venture into the Muggle world for entertainment to combat, like, just the complete lack of options. Like, I could just picture, like, the local eccentric in Godric's Hollow, like, going into town and then coming back and be like, guys, there's like a 2-hour long moving picture that tells a story that isn't actually true. Like, it's crazy. And everyone's like, sure, okay, buddy.
I mean, the Wizards are not really interested in anything that happens in the Muggle world. You can see how Arthur is pictured as an eccentric for taking an interest and still getting it so wrong for being an expert. So yeah, I think they're just not interested at all.
Yeah, and also, like, that one guy with the kilt that likes a healthy breeze.
A night dress?
No, that was a nightgown, not a breeze.
Yeah, sorry.
Not a kilt. That was
a
Archie.
nightgown.
Because it was specifically told no Muggle women wear the Sachi.
Men can wear nightgowns too. Have you seen Scrooge?
They can, but this one was designed for women.
Just, I don't know. I like the central question of this episode, and like the thing I keep coming back to is like, how do they fill their time? Because like they have magic to do, like, the that takes us forever. Like, they don't need to spend hours washing their clothes. They can cast Scourgify. Like, they don't need to spend hours cleaning their house. They can cast Scourgify. I mean, meal prep is probably still a long time endeavor, but you can't spend all your days cooking. And, like, their kids go to boarding school. So just, like, I feel like there should be a very robust, like, industry of entertainment in the Wizarding world, and just yeah, it doesn't quite seem to be there.
I think it's just leisure. I think they're just relaxing with a nice Aperol Spritz or butterbeer, flying around on brooms, being hedonists, and keeping Tom the Innkeeper in business. Because for some reason, Hagrid is a regular while living at Hogwarts.
Yeah.
They're all a bunch of alcoholics.
I mean, I guess you gotta fill the days somehow.
Yeah. Enjoy the drinks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So Matthew, now that we've discussed this, do you have an answer for which book of the Wizarding World do you want to read?
I had actually completely forgotten about that, sorry. I do think some of those sort of people's adventures in far-flung places would be interesting tales to read about. But yeah, I like you, I tend more towards interesting fiction rather than biographies.
Yeah. I mean, I think then the obvious answer is Martin Miggs the Mad Muggle.
Could be, but that's...
You're not sold.
That's it's a comic aimed at wizarding children, and it's probably, not to put too fine a point on it, highly prejudiced against muggles. So probably not as interesting as it might otherwise be. Who knows?
Well, I think I'd really enjoy reading Martin Miggs personally. Just because it's going to be so ridiculously wrong.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that Hermione also read it as well. For academic purposes.
Just because you think she was like in the burrow and she's like, there is a thing that one can read in this house and I haven't? Well, we got to fix that.
Also because it's Ron's favorite comic.
Exactly, and she likes Ron.
She has to read it.
Yeah, and then she like comes over ready to like have a literary discussion with him. She's like, so Ron, what did you think of the themes in issue 47?
Why do you have the emotional depth of a teaspoon? Yeah, he would not follow along with that, would he?
Mm-mm.
But to end things off with all our musical discussions, talk with weird sisters and everything, what's on the jukebox, which apparently does exist? We don't have gramophones, we have jukeboxes, Irvin.
Yes. It's because, at the Three Broomsticks, we have only the best for our patrons. Well, today at the pub's jukebox is A Cauldron Full of Hot Strong Love by the Silver Doe. If that title sounds familiar, that is because it is part of Celestina Warbeck's oeuvre. The Silver Doe went and recorded, I think, at least 2, maybe 3 of Celestina Warbeck's songs just based on the title, like before we had lyrics for them. So this is her interpretation of what Celestina sounds like. It's more torch song than jazzy pop, and I think it's great, so give it a listen.
Come and stir my cauldron, and if you do it right, I'll boil you up some hot strong love to keep you warm tonight. A cauldron full of hot strong love, and all you have to do is stir my cauldron full of hot strong love. That's what I have for you. It's what I have for you. A cauldron full of hot strong love.
Amazing.
Yeah. Matthew, thank you so much for, your return visit to the Three Broomsticks. It's always such a pleasure to have you visiting our pub.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Is there anything you want to plug? Anywhere you want listeners to find you other than our comment sections?
No, I think just encourage people to join in the comments. There can be some very interesting discussions on some episodes and other episodes less so. So it'd be good if there's more people that contribute because, there's a lot of interesting things to talk about.
Yeah.
That is very, very true. And thank you from me as well. And if you enjoyed your time at the pub today, please rate and review us online or tell your friends about our show. And huge thanks again to Sam Omen, who bought us this round of drinks at the Three Broomsticks.
Whoop, whoop. Thank you.
Yay. And if you'd like to buy us the next round, head over to patreon.com/3broomsticks with the number 3 to sign up.
And of course, if you want to find us online, we're available on various social media, which are linked in the website and in the show notes. If you're looking at Facebook or Instagram, not LinkedIn, but...
Oh, dear God. If this podcast ever ends up on LinkedIn, just put us out to pasture. That'll be the sign.
If you want to change emojis to make you think, if you want to get a heads up on recommended reading for the next episode to be able to follow along even better. Or we also share our upcoming Patreon schedule, reactions, and all that good stuff. The website is 3broomstickspod.com, with 3 spelled out, unlike the Patreon. And of course, that lets you submit a topic and let us know your thoughts.
And next time we meet at the Three Broomsticks, we'll be discussing Deathly Hallows Chapter 19, The Silver Doe. I'm Karoline.
I'm Irvin.
I'm Taavi. Thank you for listening, and see you next time on the Three Broomsticks.
Cheers!
Give me big old buckets of butterbeer. Give me big old barrels of butterbeer. Give me the drink I love so dear. And another round for my friend right here of the sweet old butterbeer.
This episode of The Three Broomsticks was edited by Patrick Musilek. The theme song was written and performed by the Faithful Sidekicks. Make sure to check them out at thefaithfulsidekicks.com.
Are you from Stockholm?
No.
No.
Western Canada. But I'm half Swedish, so.
Okay.
I've been here for a decade, so it's,
So kind of, yes.
Yeah. I've been here for, over 10 years, so. Oh, God.
Lots of snow now.
Actually, yes, it snowed last week. We had no snow until,
Same here.
the 2nd of January. There was, maybe a foot of snow where I live, which is insane. I love it.
That's crazy.
The buses are not loving it.
I love snow.
Oh, me too. We had a proper snow day the other week. It was amazing.
I went skiing last week. So happy.
Nice.
Very cool.